7:30 on this finally Friday, November 8th. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett here on News 6 Plus and clickorlando.com. I'm Bridgett Ellison. Good to be with you. We made it to Friday. It's been a busy week, but we're getting ready for the weekend and Veterans Day coming up on Monday. We also have a live interview this morning about a mental health panel coming up on Tuesday in Winter Park. We'll be talking to a licensed counselor about that and the panel of experts who will be there. It's open to the public. And we also have our Corey Murray here to talk about some exciting things going on with the Boys and Girls Club, a turkey drive that he's working on again this year, as well as some programs for financial literacy. So we'll get to him in a little bit as well. But first, over to the Pinpoint Weather Center with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. And Candace, it has been a busy week, lots of weather to talk about, and lots of people looking forward to this weekend as well.
Well, we got the Veterans Day Parade tomorrow. We have the first Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party starting tonight. We have EDC. So really, that kind of spans a whole lot of different people, right, than just those three events. So if you have any weekend plans, it's not going to be fall-like. You know how we had that nice little fall stretch where it was warm, but it was still comfortable. It's not going to be that comfortable, but it's also not going to be as muggy as it has been.
Okay. So
right?
Let up a little bit.
A little bit, right. Now, temperatures for today are already starting off a bit cooler. Yesterday, we were starting off near 80. Today, we're more in those low 70s. So starting about 5 to 8 degrees cooler already. And then our highs this afternoon are still going to be running about 6 to 8 degrees above average. But at least because we don't have as much moisture and humidity in the air, it won't be feeling like 98, 99 like it has been for the last 2 days. So again, we're starting to see conditions improve, but then we're going to start bringing back a little more moisture by the end of the weekend and into Veterans Day on Monday.
Okay, so what about
a little bit for
everybody? Do we need that for the weekend or just?
No, I mean, listen, it's going to be just some of those real spotty showers.
Okay.
So rain chances are less than about 10%, maybe a 20% along our coast,
nice.
but it's not worth schlepping all the rain gear around if you're going to be out and about this weekend.
Good deal.
Yeah. All right. So let's take it to the maps. Clouds and rain forecast right now, just kind of showing a couple of those lone showers along our coast this morning. But throughout the day, you can see not much action. We will have kind of a mix of sun and clouds. You can see that streaming in off a lighter breeze. The breeze isn't going to be as strong today, which, by the way, if you're one of those who've been hoping for some better beach days or better boating days, today, tomorrow, looking much better. We still have a risk of rip currents along our coast, which won't be as high, and the waters won't be as choppy or rough. Now, again, we are going to stay mostly dry throughout the majority of the weekend as we take it here hour by hour. 86 is going to be your high this afternoon. Temperatures are going to be warming up to the 80s already by lunchtime. Still relatively drier day today, but not perfectly comfortable. So let's talk about the one system that made things very muggy and very tropical across Central Florida. It was Rafael. Now, Rafael reached Category 3 strength before it made landfall in Cuba a few days ago. It weakened a bit, and guess what? It re-intensified. It regained its Category 3 status with sustained winds of 120 miles per hour. Now, it is anticipated to finally start weakening and moving into less favorable conditions for tropical development. So it does this little kind of wonky loop-de-doop, and then it starts drifting further south as a remnant low. So the good news is when we talk about a major hurricane in the Gulf, it's almost a guarantee that it has to make landfall somewhere. But this is a rare late season major hurricane in the Gulf. And as of right now, many of the models kind of just keep it generally there in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, kind of dying out, kind of on top of itself, really. Now, a little bit of that moisture will drift further south, but at least when it comes to anything significant making landfall, we don't see that happening. Looking at the tropics, latest update still, again, highlighting Rafael. And another area, it's kind of a broad low. You can kind of see a little bit of a spin there between Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. Now, that's main zone has still a low chance of potential development in the next 2 to 7 days at only about 20%. But we will be kind of tapping into kind of the northern fringe of that as it moves west by late Sunday and into Monday. So I have a little rain icon there for Monday. It's not going to be a washout. It won't be as much rain as we dealt with when Rafael was nearby. That was a much more organized system. This time, it's just going to be upping up those rain chances just a little bit, up to about 30%. Maybe can't rule out the chance of an isolated thunderstorm. But then once that's done, we're going to be watching for the possibility of a weak cold front that hopefully will make its way into Central Florida by Tuesday, and that will bring back temperatures back to where they should be for this time of the year. Low 80s for highs, mid 60s for lows. So it looks like, remember we were talking about possibly a cold front coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We could start trending a bit cooler though once we get done with some of that tropical moisture on Monday.
Okay, that sounds a little bit better.
Right? You're welcome. I know. Believe me, I've been watching that cold front, tracking the trends, whether or not it's going to get here or not. So I'm not going to be crazy dropping temperatures. This doesn't have a huge wallop of cold air behind it. But listen, as long as we can get the humidity out of here, November could actually feel very comfortable, even with temperatures still in the 80s.
Okay. We hopefully a better downward trend after this. So.
Tell me about it. I need to start feeling this more festive spirit. I mean, at least it was relatively dry and comfortable for Halloween. So, we do have to kind of crank it up a little bit again, but hopefully we'll taper things off.
Nice. All right. Thanks, Candace. See you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Trooper Steve is rolling. I'm going to check in with him. He's out in Results 1. Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Good morning. How are you?
Good. So you're out in Results 1, headed on out. Where are you headed?
So we're going to be talking about pedestrian safety today, just because the Pine Hills community has always seen a large, at least crash data has always shown a large vehicle versus pedestrian kind of interaction, an unfortunate interaction. So today we're going to kind of hit the road out in the Pine Hills community and talk about ways that we could be safe, obvious ways, and then kind of encourage people. They've done a lot of infrastructure change out there to use those crosswalks. So that will start today at 10 a.m. at clickorlando.com. And that's part of, obviously, our WKMG Hits the Road. And we'll be at the Boys and Girls Club next Tuesday night. Really excited about that.
I know. That's going to be so fun. I'm glad that we were able to get everything rescheduled after the hurricane sort of disrupted our original plans. And so, I just got finished talking to Candace about the weather for the weekend. And so you and Crystal will be out at the parade. That's tomorrow, right?
Yes, super excited. Last year, Crystal and I got to MC and host the Veterans Parade in downtown Orlando. It's the biggest parade here in Central Florida, and they have asked us to come back again. So kickoff for the parade tomorrow is 10:45. You want to get downtown earlier because the road closures, obviously, but we'll be down there probably about 10 o'clock. So you get down there about 10 o'clock, find your spot, and enjoy it. Over 80 different participants. That probably means over 1,000 people participating, but different organizations. And looking at that weather, I can handle some humidity for our vets, and I'm really excited about that. It's going to be really cool.
I know. I'm going to get with you later about a good spot to maybe check it out, because I'll be in between kid activities. I'm sort of like the Saturday kids Uber. So in between, I'm going to try to check out the parade.
Well, I will.
So
I'll send you.
Yeah.
I got to send the web team the map. I'll make sure I copy you in that email too, so at least you can see where we're going to be based out and stuff, and you can come by and hang out.
Super. All right. And so, what's up today with the traffic?
Traffic's not too bad. Fridays are always pretty good. I am watching two crashes, though. This first one is way out on the east side over by Waterford Lakes, Avalon. It's going to be westbound Colonial. Pretty slow as you approach Bonneville, Woodbury area, but they are in the process of clearing this out, so the delay should thin out here within the next two. Taft Vineland, we have been watching this crash over in the industrial area just by Land Street. Please be careful, just because a lot of big trucks. But outside of that this morning, we're in pretty routine shape, if not better than normal, just because Fridays we do see a little less traffic. I have seen some aggressive drivers out already this morning, but hey, maybe that's just me and I'm being a little picky on how people are driving out and about. But your drive times right now from Champions Gate to downtown, 38 minutes. It's not great, but it's not horrible. Yesterday we were up to 47, so we're shaving off about 10 minutes from there. And then looking at some of our other local roads and stuff like that, Poinciana Boulevard, 192, seeing some slight delays, but no major issues out there this morning, to include Dr. Phillips in our attractions area. So, Bridget, as long as people are paying attention, please increase that following distance, watching out for pedestrians. I just want people to go into this weekend. Keep in mind, it is a celebratory weekend. It is not Memorial Day. It is a weekend to celebrate anybody who has ever put on the military uniform. I'll even throw in our Space Force folks, since you guys are kind of new. And even them, Coast Guard, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Army, all of them. It is a celebratory weekend to have fun and to be excited. So if you know a vet, if you've got them in your family, celebrate them this weekend, please.
Yes. Last night I really got into the spirit because the kids had a concert that was sort of Veterans Day themed. So all the patriotic songs, and they pulled out the flags and the little American flag print hats, and it was very festive.
Cool.
Like, yeah, that was the pre-party for the celebrations coming up. So yeah, hopefully.
Well, you guys are kicking it off.
Yeah,
I like that. I like it.
It was good. It was really good.
Sweet. Hopefully we see you tomorrow.
Yes, I'll talk to you about that route. And so you're going to post that too, right?
I'll post it and I'll make sure I email it to you.
Yes, but for everybody too, you're posting the routes so that they can.
Yeah, I will post up a graphic of Crystal and I will post the map up to show everybody where we will be on Facebook.
Okay, great. Thanks, Steve.
See ya.
All right, see ya. So, speaking of traffic, unfortunately, it's been the talk of downtown Orlando since the deadly shooting on the evening of Halloween. And 2 people died in that, 9 people were shot, and it's been a devastating thing to deal with anytime, but in downtown Orlando in particular, it's been plagued with issues, and we've been covering that all along. But the city announced that they want to make some new changes in how they do the road closures and everything down there. They're going to try a different approach, and they're not giving up. News 6's Andrew Quesada explains what they're going to change from what they've been doing for years and how some people aren't sure.
The city of Orlando announcing they're ready to make some changes to their downtown bar district after a deadly Halloween night shooting. They want to put an end to what they call the street party atmosphere by keeping Orange Avenue open to traffic. News 6's Treasure Roberts spoke with some who frequent the area.
It was unreal because you just start hearing gunshots and everyone's trampling over each other.
Caleb Villavicencio was downtown last week when police say a 17-year-old started firing into a large crowd in the street, killing 2 and injuring 8 others. But he's worried the changes could lead to other problems.
Do you think that will be effective?
I mean, when they closed off all these streets, people would walk in the street and it'd be less crowded. I feel like if they open up the streets, these sidewalks will be a lot more crowded, and I feel like there would be more potential of fights.
The city says the road reopening will be done gradually, starting with 1 lane next weekend, using barricades to keep people closer to the sidewalks.
And so we'll keep you updated on how things go with the changes and how everyone is reacting. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with our live interviews for this morning. We're talking about a big mental wellness event coming up next week. All right, welcome back. We want to talk about a mental health panel. We talked about how we're hitting the road to Pine Hills and we had to reschedule that. Well, this is a reschedule also from Hurricane Milton. It was supposed to happen in honor of World Mental Health Day. We have Dr. Shana Ali with us this morning, mental health counselor, educator, and advocate, to tell us more about this event coming up Tuesday in Winter Park. Good morning.
Good morning, Bridget. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's great to have you, and I'm so glad that you all were able to, still put this event on, and maybe it'll give more people a chance to, come out and learn more. So what's the premise of the panel that will be at the Center for Health and Wellbeing in Winter Park on Tuesday?
So, as you noted, it's in honor of World Mental Health Day. And I was searching and I realized that we don't have a lot of informative events around mental health in general, but even for World Mental Health Day. So, I'm glad that we got to reschedule this as well. And I do think that opens it up for other folks. But it's an opportunity for us to learn a little bit about mental health, free to the community, learn from mental health advocates across town who can share a little bit about key aspects of mental health, including warning signs, how to seek help, where to seek help, and ways you can take care of your well-being today.
Mm-hmm. What is one of the biggest things that you try to tell people to break the stigma, whether it's looking at it as your health care for a lifetime or different parts of your life, different seasons of your life? How do you explain that to help break down stigmas?
Well, first, I often try to get folks to realize that mental health is just as important as physical health. So that gets the wheels turning. And then there's also an important statistic that I often cite from the World Health Organization that 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health disorder in their lives. And that's a disorder. That's not just an issue or a problem. So if you're fortunate for that to not be you, think about 1 in 4. That likely
Mm-hmm.
means not only one person you really care about, but multiple people and you in your family and in your community too.
And even if it's not necessarily a disorder, it could be an issue or problem that you need to talk to a mental health care professional about. Is that right?
Absolutely. I am a big fan of proactive care, and that's part of why we're trying to emphasize this panel. It's because many times people wait till the problem has exacerbated, very similar to physical health. So, proactive coping is key. Speaking to someone, especially if you think you're in that void area in which your stress levels are too high for you to handle, it's always important to seek out professional help.
Mm-hmm. What do you do when there's, say, unhealthy maybe coping? You talked about unhealthy coping. What do you do when that's happening, say with a family member, a friend, and they're not open to going the route of mental health care?
This is a really tricky problem that many people face today. And I think one of the things that we're really trying to emphasize is proactive, healthy communication amongst loved ones. So,
Mm-hmm.
in theory, if we're speaking together no matter what, not just because there's an intervention or a difficult conversation that we're having to have, but if we're having conversations that are safe in our families and our friendships and our communities, then likely that will impede that from beginning in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Then, if that does actually occur, it creates a safe community of us being able to address that issue and then always providing resources. So instead of just talking to this person and targeting or making
Mm-hmm.
them feel defensive, they know that there is a safe community of people that they can lean on and that there's resources available for them.
Mm-hmm. And so tell us about the panel you'll have on Tuesday.
I'm really excited about this panel. It really is the first of this kind that we're having. So I'm really grateful to the Center for Health and Wellbeing for offering this event and many similar events to truly support well-being in our community. We have 4 mental health professionals in a variety of forms across the community. They'll be sharing a little bit about the specific niche areas of mental health that they are focused on, whether it's peer support space like Yasmin Flasterstein or Dr. Sajal Barton, who is the founder over at the UCF MFRI. Just different professionals who can talk to us about the variety of areas of mental wellness and what we can look for in those areas in our lives, how we can seek support if we need it as well.
When we talk about social media, these days there is more awareness, but there are many people who may not be licensed, or maybe we're self diagnosing. What are some of those things now that people are maybe trying to self diagnose and it could totally be something else? Can you give us some examples and why, it's important to, seek out someone licensed to talk to about different things you might be concerned about.
Yes, absolutely. And before we even highlight how this is important, I want to highlight that I understand if you're the type of person who you've gone to one of your social media platforms and searched for a mental health concern. It's because many times we don't have events like this available that we can turn to learn about mental health. And a lot of people are too worried about seeking a counselor first to seek that help. And we need that information gap filled with events such as this. So it is important that we leave diagnoses up to the experts, because if you're not, you may be misdiagnosing yourself first and foremost. And that means that you're not getting quality, appropriate care. So that means you're putting this effort forward with trying to care for yourself, but you may be leading yourself astray. I don't think you would try to self diagnose for serious physical health concerns, and please don't do the same for mental health.
Yeah, it can be similar to when you maybe like try to Google your symptoms. And sometimes, like, there's just such a wide variety of things. But many times,
I'm so sorry, the sound went out.
uh
Could you
oh.
please repeat what you just said?
Oh, I just talked about how sometimes anxiety and depression might be sort of, a sidebar of something else that could be going on, say, even with attention deficit or something like that.
Absolutely. And many mental health concerns can have similar symptoms. They can be overlapping and co occurring. And this is a really wonderful point of why it's important to not self diagnose, because you may have the tip of the iceberg and you may start there, which is great to have the intention to care for yourself, but you may be missing the fuller picture. And that's essential that we intervene as soon as possible when we find diagnoses.
Well, great. Dr. Shana, thank you. And so this is open to the public. Tell us how we can get more information. This is Tuesday at noon to 1:30 at the Center for Health and Wellbeing. So do we need to register or just show up?
You can please visit the Center for Health and Wellbeing site to register. That would be helpful, but you are welcome to just show up. We are so excited to have this free community event to share about mental health. And thank you, Bridgett, for letting us talk about it today.
Yes, thank you. And thanks for putting this on. So hopefully well attended and a tradition that can continue for years to come. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, we want to get to our Corey Murray, who is standing by to tell us more about this week's podcast episode of Black Men Sundays and what he's working on for Thanksgiving. Good morning, Corey.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just excited about this weekend show. We have Jamie Merrill, the president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Central Florida.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about 38 clubs, 5 counties, over 12,000 youth. And we're doing our turkey drive as well. But
Yes.
in this show, I had to ask her, what is the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Florida doing? Because we talk about generational wealth, but what are you guys doing to combat generational poverty? Let's roll that soundbite.
One of the things that we really focus on is breaking the cycle of generational poverty. Oftentimes, we know that our club members can't necessarily see beyond, 4 to 6 blocks that are out in front of them. And so they don't really understand the opportunities that the world can offer. And that's where we pride ourselves on helping to open those doors and open their eyes to the world of possibilities of what it is that they can explore. But if we don't teach them those key fundamentals of budgeting and saving money, they can go out and get great jobs and still not be making good decisions because they have not necessarily been taught that in any of the life situations that they've been a part of. So helping them to truly break that cycle means looking at every aspect of their life and the situation that they've been involved in and helping to ensure that they're going to overcome that in the best way possible. And that is why we focus on financial literacy and money matters. And a lot of times we've seen our kids be able to start their own businesses, hold down a job, create savings, and they put more of a savings in when they're graduating from high school. They have more of a savings cushion already than maybe even their family does.
That's right. That's right. And I asked her, we're doing our second annual Black Men Sundays turkey drive. How does the turkey drive benefit your club members? Let's roll that.
because at the end of the day, our kids deserve to feel exactly what the rest of the world feels and celebrate these wonderful holidays. And when I told you earlier that, you know, somewhere between 85 to 90% of our families are making $40,000 or less as a household income, it may not be a luxury that they have to go out and actually spend on a holiday meal or a Thanksgiving meal. So it's important that we give them opportunities both inside the club to have those hot meals, but also that experience in the home so that they can celebrate as well. Sometimes you're dealing with homes that have, you know, upwards of 10 to 12 people living in them, and they're having to feed all of those individuals. So this is giving them the luxury to feel not only nourished with the meal that they're getting, but feel whole as an individual, which is something that is incredibly important to their mental health and the well-being of the children and the entire family.
There you go. That's a slice of Black Men Sundays this Sunday. President CEO Jamie Merrill. You know, we're doing our turkey drive. We're hitting the road next week. I wish I could be there, but you know, I'll be out of town. But you know, Jamie Merrill, President CEO of the Boys and Girls Club, that aligns perfect with our Black Men Sundays turkey drive. So, you know, if we could put that graphic up, there we go. Scan that code. It works. I made sure it worked before I came on here. Scan the code, donate. Let's feed these Boys and Girls
Mm-hmm.
Clubs of Central Florida. We're doing 3 clubs this year. We fed 2 clubs last year, the Winter Garden location and the Universal location. So now we're adding the Walt Disney World location, which is where the Hits the Road will be next Tuesday. So donate, make that contribution, scan that barcode, and there we go. Black Men Sundays, Turkey Drive, second annual, and we had the CEO come on the show. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that. Let's get it.
I love it. You can feel the love and the work that they're doing, not just helping people, but building these little girls and boys, and just, you know, really pouring into those families to give them, you know, a hand up, not just a hand out. It's wonderful, Corey. It's full circle, and it does contribute to the whole person's well being.
That's right. That's right. Black Men Sundays. Let's feed these kids.
All right, Corey. Well, thank you so much for the updates and the info. We'll be listening out for that new episode.
Thank you. Happy Friday.
All right, you too. I'll see you later. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us. I'll see you a little bit later at noon for more news and weather. Hope you have a great weekend. Be safe, and we'll be back on Monday at 7:30. Take care.